Buffy fans, I'm here to talk about episode 17 of season 4, Superstar. This was an episode that was so confusing at the top that I genuinely had to stop the show, go Google to make sure that I was on the right episode, go back to the DVD menu and make sure that I had selected the right episode, and then start it from the beginning all over again because I was like, surely I've missed something. Surely I skipped an episode by mistake because what is happening? Now, that was obviously by design. And once we realized, me and my roommate Patricia realized what was going on, we locked in completely. But holy moly, I was convinced I did something wrong in my watch order. Because as many of you know, I'm flip flopping between Angel and Buffy. I'm following like 2 different watch orders depending on my mood. And I'm going off of the DVDs, which are inevitably, I guess, a bootleg DVD set. I didn't realize that. Anyway, so some of it's a little bit wonky. And I was like, I'll skip something for sure. But I didn't. Jonathan was the star of this episode, the superstar, if you will, if I may. And it took me until halfway through the episode to realize that this was the Jonathan from the school episode. I was like, who is this man? Sorry to this man. I don't know who you are. Now, part of the reason for that is because often when I'm watching TV of this era, I've seen these actors on multiple different shows, and I can't always remember if I'm remembering them from a different show or if I'm remembering them from the same show. So in this case, I was like, beats me how I know this guy. Turns out it's because he was literally on Buffy like the season prior. What a super interesting concept of taking this sort of guest star actor from this one episode that sort of like got changed at the last minute because of the circumstances in real life that altered that episode's airing. Bring him back, make him the main character, and like center an entire episode around him in a completely different way. What a kind of genius thing to do. Like, very creative, very creative. Now, so Patricia and I were like, okay, so this guy's the main character, so let's go back. So we went back and watched the title sequence again, and we counted how many shots Jonathan was in the title sequence. It was 11 insert shots that I counted. And I thought that was really cool because it's like, oh, he's completely changed the narrative. Like, he is the main character now. So the whole time we were like looking in the background of every scene, trying to find the Easter eggs and trying to figure out like who he was, what happened, why is he the main character now. I love that he was on the cereal box at the beginning. He, like, the stupid sequence of him slaying with the crossbow was, like, so dorky. With the James Bond music and all of that, I was like, okay, got it. Like, this is a gag, for sure. The music was so funny to me, like, the paparazzi. I was like, okay, over the top. I was like, okay, this is definitely, like, a spell or something. Made even funnier by the fact that Jonathan is a short king. He is a short king. So, like, next to everybody, he is just so small. And all these other men are, like, way taller than him. And yet they're all kind of, like, falling over themselves for him because he's so famous and beloved that it makes the joke even funnier. Kudos to that actor for being able to, like, nail the comedic timing of this role without making it shticky. A very fine line to ride. Now, the Western music, when Spike came out, sent me to Mars. Like, comedic brilliance. Editing team locked in for this episode. Jonathan X Spike, funny as hell. So when Willow and Tara, I knew something was really wrong when Willow and Tara, were, with each other, and it cuts to what they're doing. And they're making a collage of Jonathan. I'm like, this is so clearly we're in an alternate universe because they would never center a man like this. They wouldn't. The Jonathan poster on Riley's door instead of the balls poster, even funnier. Jonathan being in every scene and also a local celebrity was great. And then I was like, of course he can sing too. Of course he can play the trumpet. Right. There was a moment, my fellow Supernatural fans will find this funny. There was a moment in this episode, and I was like, sometimes this is what, like, the presence of Jensen Ackles feels like, where it's like, this man is good at everything. It's low-key annoying. Like, when he pulled out the trumpet, I was like, you know what, this is like Jensen Ackles' core. Like, sure, that makes sense for you. Right. Just a funny little tidbit. Now, speaking of Supernatural, the way I fucking screamed when Rob Benedict graced my screen. And how did I know it was Rob Benedict? It was that voice of his that is unmistakable, undeniable. My Pookie, my baby Rob Benedict, who I love so very, very, very much. He's in vampire makeup the whole time, and he's only in that one scene. But he is iconic. He's iconic. I love that he's in this. I knew vaguely that he was in Buffy at some point. I didn't realize it was this. My mind is like a sieve, or a sieve, whatever the thing is that Sam falls through, whatever. Vampire henchman, yeah. Rob Benedict, my beloved. I thought it was cool that Adam the monster is the only thing not under the spell. We needed someone to not be under the spell, so I thought that was cool. Literally halfway down through my notes, I realized that Jonathan was the guy from the school pew pew episode. That's halfway through. Sometimes I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, you feel? And then I said, don't hurt Tara, you ugly limb demon. The demon monster that was like the antithesis to Jonathan, we find out that like the kind of ritual that Jonathan did to make all this happen is like creating an equal entity that's just as evil as he is good. The like long gangly limbs were so disgusting. I was like, absolutely not. It made sense for Xander that he was like the biggest fanboy of the group with the trading cards and the comics and stuff. Here's the thing that's funny to me about Xander at this point in time of the show. It's so clear to me that like at this point in time, that actor was like not small and like meek and dorky. Clearly he had like come into his own at this point. He's tall, he's clearly got muscles, and he's working out. Like you can tell. You know, he's like, I'm gonna say it, he's a little bit more handsome than he's ever been, but they're continuously trying to make Xander like kind of dorky, and so they're like stuffing this actor into the most dorky clothes they can find that don't fit him, that try to make him look smaller and not as like beefed out as he is. And it's funny to me because like you can totally tell he is, and I'm like, just let him be beefy, just let him be. Like, listen, men who look like that can also be annoying dorks. It is possible. I do know that we had more stereotypes at the time. I just think it's funny because some of the outfits they put him in, some of the patterns, I'm like, dog, what is he wearing? What is this sweater vest? Yikes. Anyways, I digress. I thank God Buffy was the one to kind of be like, wait, hold on a second, something is weird about this. And Riley standing up for her, even though he's like, none of this makes sense. However, I'm gonna get behind Buffy because she's my girl. Correct of you, Riley, correct of you. Jonathan standing up to Spike was funny. They all figured it out. It was a spell. You know, the more she hurts it, the more that he loses power, it being the demon creature. Xander grieving the loss of Jonathan was so real of him. It's like he needed someone to look up to, and he lost that. Now he's grieving. And I like that last scene, like Jonathan was normal again. It's such a night and day difference. Oh my God. And then has that sort of those parting words with Buffy about the last piece of advice he gave her about Riley. I thought it was very sweet. And the end, the last shot where Buffy and Riley are making out, and then the Jonathan gets brought up again. I thought that was a funny button on the episode. So overall, this episode was a wildly good time. Like, I've said it before, I will say it again a million times. One of my favorite things about long-running genre TV shows is when they break form and do like an episode that is like centered around something different, or like a different style, a tone, an homage to another genre, whatever it is. I love it when TV breaks their form on purpose, intentionally. And Buffy does it well. It's one of the reasons why I love this show. Having a great time. I'm having a great time. I love these shows. They're so good. I'm so glad that I waited till this year when I had a little bit of a gap in TV shows to watch it. And thank you all for joining me on this journey. Jump scare, it's me from the future. I filmed this video last week. Since then, I've watched quite a few more Buffy and Angel episodes. I'm in the process of scheduling out all of my filming times, my editing times, my posting times, and my watch times. I am trying to finish out Buffy season 4 and Angel season 1 within like the next week. But for like the 4 of you who have watched to this point, I'm gonna put in my description below the tentative like release schedule I have for episode recaps. I know that the the Where the Wild Things Are New Moon Rising video is gonna go bananas crazy because so many of you are waiting for me to get to those episodes. I've watched them. I feel insane about them. I feel crazy. So I really want to pay special care and attention to that. Hopefully releasing that on, I'm looking at my schedule now, Tuesday. But check the description and I'll keep you all posted there. Wild times.